Imagine a naturally occurring botanical compound so chemically precise and biologically devious that it can completely hijack the human brain's evolutionary reward circuitry within exactly 10 seconds of entering the bloodstream. This invisible molecule is nicotine, an alkaloid synthesized by the nightshade family of plants as a highly toxic biological defense mechanism to paralyze and kill herbivorous insects. Yet, when ingested by humans in minute doses, this potent natural pesticide radically alters our neurochemistry, creating a profound cascade of physiological and psychological effects that have captivated and enslaved billions of people across centuries. To truly understand the absolute power of nicotine, one must completely separate the chemical itself from the devastatingly lethal delivery mechanism of combustible tobacco. While cigarette smoke contains thousands of carcinogenic compounds responsible for massive global mortality, isolated nicotine operates through a much more nuanced mechanism of action. It is a highly complex biological paradox, acting simultaneously as a powerful cognitive stimulant and a soothing relaxant, temporarily enhancing certain neurological functions while systematically rewiring the central nervous system to guarantee a lifelong chemical dependency. The exact moment nicotine enters the body, whether absorbed through the lung tissue, oral mucosa, or dermal patches, it aggressively races toward the central nervous system. Because its molecular shape is uncannily similar to acetylcholine, an essential neurotransmitter responsible for muscle movement and cognitive processing, nicotine effortlessly crosses the heavily fortified blood-brain barrier. Once inside the brain, it forcibly binds to nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, unlocking neurological floodgates and triggering an immediate, massive release of various chemical messengers. The most significant of these is dopamine, the primary molecule responsible for the sensation of pleasure, motivation, and reward. This unnatural dopamine spike artificially signals to the brain that the act of consuming nicotine is a critical survival behavior, instinctively prioritizing it alongside eating or drinking. Simultaneously, the compound signals the adrenal glands to dump heavy amounts of adrenaline into the bloodstream, causing an immediate spike in resting heart rate, elevated blood pressure, and a sudden rush of physical energy. This dual action, stimulating the adrenal system while simultaneously flooding the brain with pleasure chemicals, creates a powerful sensation of supreme alertness paired with deep emotional calm, forming a unique biological state that makes the substance exceptionally difficult to abandon once habitual consumption begins. Despite its overwhelmingly negative public reputation, pure nicotine possesses a fascinating profile of short-term cognitive benefits that have increasingly drawn the attention of modern neuroscientists and clinical researchers. Behavioral science indicates that measured doses of isolated nicotine can significantly enhance fine motor skills, accelerate cognitive reaction times, and drastically improve sustained attention spans. For individuals struggling with heavy cognitive workloads or demanding physical tasks, the molecule acts as a highly effective, temporary focusing lens, artificially filtering out extraneous environmental distractions and sharpening working memory. Furthermore, neurological studies exploring neurodegenerative diseases have uncovered highly counterintuitive data regarding nicotine consumption. Because the compound heavily stimulates the cholinergic system, which is typically the very first neural network to physically degrade in patients suffering from Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, researchers have observed that nicotine can offer mild neuroprotective effects. In tightly controlled laboratory environments, pure nicotine administration has been shown to delay the onset of certain motor impairments and temporarily preserve short-term memory function in degrading brains. These startling medical applications highlight the sheer chemical complexity of the molecule, proving it is not merely a toxic poison, but a highly potent pharmacological tool that requires absolute precision and immense respect. However, the physical toll extracted by this temporary cognitive enhancement is incredibly steep, as the human cardiovascular system bears the absolute brunt of chronic nicotine exposure. Even when entirely divorced from the choking tar and carbon monoxide of burning organic matter, nicotine acts as a relentless systemic vasoconstrictor. It aggressively narrows the physical diameter of blood vessels throughout the entire body, significantly increasing vascular resistance and forcing the heart muscle to work exponentially harder just to maintain basic blood circulation. Over time, this constant cardiovascular stress can easily lead to chronic hypertension, severe endothelial dysfunction, and a drastically increased risk of arterial blockages and stroke. Furthermore, the relentless chemical stimulation of the brain quickly leads to a profound state of biological neuroadaptation. The human brain, desperately attempting to maintain internal homeostasis against the artificial chemical flood, physically alters its own structure by reducing the natural production of dopamine and deliberately desensitizing the nicotinic receptors. This structural change guarantees that the user will require constantly increasing doses of the compound just to feel a baseline level of normal functioning. When the chemical is suddenly withdrawn, the altered brain plummets into a severe deficit, triggering intense emotional irritability, crippling anxiety, crushing brain fog, and an overwhelming biological craving that can last for weeks or even months. The modern landscape of nicotine consumption has evolved far beyond the traditional rolled leaf, introducing a massive array of electronic vaporizers, synthetic nicotine pouches, and pharmaceutical replacement therapies. While many of these alternative delivery systems completely eliminate the lethal combustion aspect, they often deliver the chemical into the bloodstream at much higher concentrations and with terrifying efficiency. This easy, flavor-masked access to high-yield synthetic nicotine has birthed a massive new generation of addiction, particularly among young adults whose frontal lobes are still actively developing, making them uniquely susceptible to permanent neurochemical alteration. It is entirely possible to acknowledge the isolated cognitive benefits and potential neurological applications of pure nicotine while simultaneously recognizing it as one of the most highly addictive and cardiovascularly taxing substances legally available for mass human consumption. Understanding the true nature of this invisible molecule requires abandoning simplistic moral judgments and instead embracing a purely scientific perspective on how deeply chemical compounds can interface with and ultimately control human biology. Please be strictly advised that the physiological and neurological information discussed today is provided exclusively for educational and informational purposes. It is absolutely not intended to serve as professional medical advice, formal diagnosis, or medical treatment regarding substance addiction or cardiovascular health. Nicotine is a highly toxic, severely addictive chemical substance with profound negative impacts on blood pressure, heart rhythm, and brain chemistry. If you are currently struggling with severe chemical dependency or experiencing adverse cardiovascular symptoms related to heavy stimulant consumption, you must immediately seek the professional guidance of a licensed healthcare provider, addiction specialist, or medical doctor to formally discuss safe and effective cessation strategies tailored to your specific biology. Thank you for diving deep into the fascinating biological mechanisms, cognitive effects, and severe physiological dangers of nicotine with us today on the Health Channel. If unraveling the absolute truth behind how this natural plant chemical hacks your brain and physically alters your blood flow brought massive educational value to your day, please take a single second to hit the like button to support our growing scientific community. What are your personal thoughts on the modern explosion of synthetic nicotine products compared to traditional consumption methods? Share your unique perspectives, health observations, and personal experiences in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel right now and click the notification bell so you never miss our deep, uncompromising explorations into human biology, dangerous pharmacology, and bodily optimization. Until next time, respect your neurochemistry, question your habits, and stay vigilant.